Welcome back to my channel and welcome back to a very busy Brexit day. After the meeting of Jeremy Corbyn with the opposition leaders this morning, about which we haven't heard very much yet, and the speech of Nigel Farage on a Brexit party event, there was another development. 116 members of parliament who are anti-Brexit have joined to sign the Church House Declaration. Those 160 MPs are members of all parties in the House of Commons, except the DUP, I guess, although they said all parties, but I don't believe the DUP was part of it. And their goal is to fight Boris Johnson prorogating the parliament. This declaration, as far as I got it in the quick time that passed, is also a letter to Boris Johnson to recall parliament because he has not ruled out prorogation yet. As I talked about in one of my other videos, Boris Johnson asked for advice by Attorney General Cox if it's possible to prorogue Parliament from the 9th of September for 5 weeks. And the MPs who joined there said, we are a democracy. The Prime Minister has no right to prorogue Parliament in this situation. Being in session and having a say is a basic right of a Member of Parliament. As I mentioned, Corbyn had a meeting with other members of the opposition this morning, but what I thought was a bit funny was that he was not attending this joint meeting of the 160 MPs because of other appointments. I mean, a declaration like this is, well, to exaggerate a bit, you could say it's sensational, and the leader of Her Majesty's opposition isn't there. Regarding prorogation in general and the attempt of the alleged attempt of Boris Johnson, the shadow Attorney General will challenge prorogation. That's what they told us already in this meeting. Because the 160 members of parliament say the Prime Minister is endangering the parliamentary democracy of the United Kingdom. Members of all the joint parties held speeches there, and I will just mention a few of them because they mostly went into the same directions, but it just picked out the most important point and summarized them, so this won't be too long. But it was quite interesting what the leader of the SNP in the House of Commons said. He said they are proud of this declaration because it's members of so many different parties, but more important, the Prime Minister is without a mandate for his actions. And especially without a mandate, this government now is trying to take away the rights of Parliament. And this government without a mandate is ignoring its own analysis that no-deal Brexit will be 4 times as harmful as the financial crisis. And with this government would threaten the security of the whole country, and that it would be the duty of the members of Parliament to protect the country, even if it means protect the country from this government. Well, as I mentioned before, on both sides there's quite strong language. This is not as insulting as some things I mentioned about the comments, but both sides are arguing with quite strong words, and it will even get worse when I come to a few other parts of the speeches. Somebody else mentioned no deal would be anti-democratic because there is no mandate for no deal. And there is no mandate for no deal because no deal was never on the menu in 2016, so to speak. The people only voted between Brexit and leave, but nobody voted for a no deal Brexit. There's a lot of possibility for arguing there. Of course you can say they said Brexit and they didn't say what kind of Brexit, so they have to accept every kind of Brexit. On the other hand, the other side will say they never mentioned no deal Brexit before the referendum, and so it never was part of it. It's the trying to circle a square, I must say. For this declaration, members of Parliament from England, Scotland and Wales have joined, and even if there are no Northern Irish members, because you know that the members who would probably have joined them if they would take part in Westminster would be the members of parliament that on the seats of Sinn Féin, but they never took their seats. We all know the story, so I won't explain it again. And so was nobody there from Northern Ireland, but the present members of parliament said they are also doing this strongly for the security of Northern Ireland because of the history of Northern Ireland and the Good Friday Agreement and what a no-deal Brexit would mean for this. I won't repeat that, I said this in enough videos already. And about strong language, someone went, or even two of the members of parliament who had speeches there mentioned that if Boris Johnson would prorogue parliament in this situation, it would literally be a coup d'etat. That's strong. Some might want to say this, but even if I don't agree too much with many Brexiteers and their language, I don't really agree with that on this side either, because in prorogation Her Majesty the Queen would be involved, and I would never guess that she would be part of a coup d'etat. She would definitely think about it very carefully if to allow prorogation or not. I have to pick out one member speaking there because that was Anna Soubry. She was taking part in this meeting this morning with Jeremy Corbyn, Joe Swinson and so on, and she quickly talked about it, but unfortunately even she didn't give very much information. The only thing she said was that it was a good meeting and then that they all put aside their differences. I'm still curious what that means. I'm still waiting that we hear any announcements about this morning's meeting. I don't know if they will make an announcement today, if they will keep it between them until the parliament is in session again. We will see. But Anna Soubry also said history books will decide what members of parliament will have been courageous in this situation and which members of parliament just would have done absolutely nothing. And she obviously doesn't agree with doing nothing, because for her the slogan of the day is enough is enough. I do understand from a parliamentary point of view exactly what they do mean. You can have a different opinion about the arguments of both sides, but even in a smaller scale, as a member of a borough council, if someone would send us home and say you don't have to say anything anymore, the mayor will decide on his own, or we just won't do anything and just wait until the red lines have been crossed, I would be furious. So from my own feelings, I can imagine in a similar situation on a smaller scale here, I do know what they mean. But as strong as it is, and as much as I like John Bercow, the Speaker of Parliament, I don't really see that this would be absolutely illegal if the Queen agrees, obviously. So we will have to wait what will happen there. But there were some more mentionings which I found interesting as well, so I will close the whole thing with that. It was what I didn't recall anymore was that Johnson, Gove and others fighting for leave in the 2016 referendum ruled out a no-deal Brexit. So obviously this gives a lot of hard points for the Remain arguments. If even the Leavers ruled out a no-deal, I don't mean Farage, he wanted a no-deal from the beginning, so that's a different topic. But in this government, if they ruled out a no-deal and now want to get the Brexit with a no-deal, that would be quite shady. Of course, Operation Yellowhammer was mentioned again, and the harm that was predicted by the government itself, and knowing what could happen and still trying to get a no-deal, that is one of the reasons why these 160 MPs say the Prime Minister is trying to subvert Parliament, and that these MPs will reaffirm the principle of democracy. So once again, one of the fighting sides has made a move, although the parliamentary leaders of these parties that were taking part in this declaration were also the first to sign the declaration. We could see it in a live stream. But if I'm trying to talk about all the facts, I must say 160 MPs is not enough. If they want to block anything, they need more on their side, and that's by far not enough to stop anything this government wants to do. So it was a sign of strength, surely, of the Remainer side, but also it showed a weakness, because today there were not enough MPs present to stop anything. But once again, interesting developments, but it still doesn't change my opinion that after all that happened, a no-deal Brexit is now the most probable outcome of the whole Brexit discussions and Brexit shambles of the last years, and that's still what I'm expecting. We will hear what Jeremy Corbyn has to say after his meeting, whenever we will know about this, but so far there is nothing of substance that does change anything, and will definitely not change my opinion. So thank you for watching again. If you haven't done so yet, please subscribe to my channel so you'll be informed about the next Brexit video. Today I made a video about the speech of Nigel Farage at a Brexit event, which is quite interesting, so if you haven't seen it yet, just look in my last videos, that you'll definitely see it, and maybe I'll put a card in for this video. And I just want to say thank you, have a nice day, and see you soon, and I guess we'll be sooner than later.